Hello, I'm here to talk about gender inequality and how we might make things different by placing the future in the hands of young men and women to understand that youth can bring a better future, one which has mutual respect for gender differences. My name is Dr. Pauline Crawford. I'm President of the World Association of Visionaries and Entrepreneurists, and it's a privilege to be here talking to you. My work has been in the field of gender dynamics, studying men and women of all generations and very many cultures, as many as I can reach to. I'm from the UK, and I've studied in Europe and the US and now in Asia, in Malaysia. And what I find fascinating is that we're still having the same conversation over and over again about gender inequality. Gender equality is a very important sustainable development goal because more than half the world is female. More than half of the graduates coming out of university are female. And we know many places in the world where women are totally marginalized. They're not allowed to get into education. They may be in a domestic violence situation. They may be impoverished. But over and over we talk about the empowerment of young women and girls. And I know that's one of your sustainable development goals. And what I'd like to do is to talk about how it has to be about gender, not about women. This is about men and women, and how men and women co-create the world that we now have ahead of us. The future is in the hands of the youth for sure. And men and women together make the best mixed teams. Men and women together make the best mixed teams. That evidence is very clear across the world. And in our hearts we know that. There's something complementary about how men and women come together to create life, to create communities, to create businesses, to create nations and economies. And yet when we look around the world, women are still not in positions of power. Apparently it's going to take 100 years before women can be at parity in the workplace, in the top echelons of corporate business. Now, I would say that in 100 years the world will not look like it is now. We have the opportunity to create a new mainframe, a new blueprint, where men and women understand their core differences. In my study, often it's the basics that we forget to look at. And I know I've met a lot of young people who say, no, gender isn't a problem for us. We all can do the same things. And this is true. Boys and girls can connect around the world on social media. They can use texts and mobiles. We can find anything on the internet we want. There's a lot of evidence that women can do a lot of the leadership attributes that have always been attributed to men. Does it mean that we do it in the same way? No, it doesn't. And this is the nub of the issue. And major organizations who realize this now understand the benefit of mixed teams, of putting women into strategic leadership positions and having them at the top. And it's a change, it's a gradual change, but the numbers are working that way. But gender equality will never happen until men and women understand each other. And that could be quite a challenge because we're not the same. So what I suggest is we enjoy the differences and we understand the complementary nature of what we bring together. Men are very unilateral, they're very straightforward. They tend to look at a task, look for a solution, get it done. Women bring in this multitasking, this bilateral brain, this ability to look around the corners to see everything at once. Now when mixed teams come together, when men and women come together, when we understand those advantages, that's really when things work well. So we still have to understand the baseline. And then we can attack the more challenging conversations about violence, crimes against women, or regions where women are not allowed to educate, which may be forced upon us by other cultural reasons. But if we understand the baseline and men support women to be empowered, women can then empower men to be empowered, to make them empowered. It's a circle. And one of the things I do see when I work with many, many groups is that we always have blind spots. And there always will be natural blind spots. And these are not necessarily biases or stereotypes, but they are things that we need to get into the open. So what I suggest is that mutual respect is a handle that we can use to understand whether we are X, Y, Z generation or a baby boomer like me, that men and women, boys and girls come together to create life. So co-creating the future on a more strategic plan would be a good idea. To bring in the straight logic, task-focused spaces that men bring, and the more fluid, collaborative, transparent, genuine energy of caring that women bring. Now, this is not to say men are not caring, we know that, and we know that there are a lot of men now who really understand that working together with women and understanding, if you like, their feminine principles, they can take it on board themselves. So there is a good deal of research now that feminine leaders, feminine principled leadership is the way forward. And basically this is men and women understanding the genuine nature of collaboration, honouring people's individuality as men and women and different types of men and women within their own gender, but understanding that the goal is to listen, to tune in, to be aware of different perspectives, and the possibility that talents we used not to look for are now sitting there in women. We need to reinforce this around the world, make sure that women are educated, but not to forget boys and men to be educated too about gender and gender dynamics. I believe this is the way forward. If we're going to create sustainable development goals around gender inequality, we have to look for gender equality, but not gender sameness or gender neutrality. We have to make a difference from what we do and who we are. To honour the female, to honour the male, and to honour that coming together in mutual respect is the only way forward. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a great day.